100 years ago this year, the marriage occurred of two brothers and two sisters at the Pro Cathedral in Dublin. We're here to celebrate that. The Murray brothers, Frank and Charlie, were the sons of James Murray, here photographed in the 1870s. He was a successful business, and here is his business in Downpatrick. The marriage of James and Cassie Crickard led to the birth of 12 children in 14 years, 8 of whom survived. And that has led to 4 families: Jimmy's, Frank's, Charlie's and Mary Malloy's. James' family goes back to the Harry Balloch Murray, who was supposed to have been a scribe for the O'Connor Don and come from Roscommon. This picture shows them at their house in Coney Island, presumably taken a couple of years before James died in 1913. He had had a stroke in 1902. The family loved the house in Coney Island. Here is a larger group, including presumably cousins, possibly the McAleenans. On the Duke's side, there were 7 children, one having died in infancy. Only 2 had issue, that's Alice and Tess. And this is the only photo we have of Mariah Duke with Tess in Elphin. The wedding cert, showing the date. This photograph taken in the Gresham Hotel at the wedding breakfast after the wedding. You see the brides in the middle and the 2 brothers to the outside. Various members of the family are there. Helen, Jim, Mary and Susan Murray, and I think Jack Duke. Here's another picture of Helen and Mary Murray, later Murphy and Malloy. The proud father, Charlie Murray, with Carmel and Dermot. And here, Tess, with presumably Dermot also. Another series of photos taken in Coney Island, here Cass with a beloved spaniel. And this shows a group with Mary McCabe Murray, wife of Jimmy, and Kevin, and unknown people. I would like to believe that the clergyman is the famous Reverend Canon Harry Murray, a cousin. Here's Catherine with Joe, her baby son, her youngest son. Here's the young family of Frank and Alice with Cassie. And the kids on their own. A delightful picture. They were quite characters, you can see here, especially Sean, who shows up in a lot of these pictures as being quite a little demon. And again here. And whatever's happening in this last picture looks like fun, but it's not very visible to make out what's going on. Here's a portrait of Mary Malloy, a fine job, and a portrait of Vincent Duke, who was the middle son and went on to become a doctor. Another portrait of Frank and Alice and the children on their own. The cute one on the left is Ted, who went on to study medicine also. Here he is in Cambridge. Eve, daughter of Charlie, looking elegant. And the lovely Marita, wife of Harry, son of Charlie. Even Carmel were enthusiastic about camogie, and here they are in a march that happened in the 30s, I believe. Evelyn Duke supported her brother Vincent in his studies, and when he had settled himself in the States, she went to visit him. These are a group of photographs from that trip. He had married a lady called Alice, and when Evelyn was visiting, they toured around and enjoyed the joys of the big American motor cars and picnicking out in trips. I believe they were in upstate New York somewhere. Not quite sure of that. Around about the time of Harry's wedding, Dermot, Tony and Frank, the 4 Murray brothers, and here the 4 Murray sisters photographed with their parents. This coming delightful photograph shows Harry and Joe Fall, his friend, and on the back it says, "Two blissful husbands, and Tess and Nan know why." Here we have Etty and Tony. Here's Tony and his new wife, looking very pleased with himself and messing around. And Tony with Betty and Carmel and Ethna. And this photograph shows their wedding day. Picture of Eve, another one. And here we have a picture of Terry's wedding in the north. A fine selection of family attended that. Carmel. And Carmel's wedding. Again, there was a great attendance of family at this wedding, and I'm going to show a number of images because they show up a lot of people looking very well. There's Mary Murphy, and Joe and Carmel surrounded by the family. And Charlie is the proud father. Gussie, Duke, and Frank and Dermot Murray. And then Helen and Mary Malloy Murphys. And Carmel with her parents. Marita, Dermot, and Eve. And too many to mention, but they're not. And this is Eve at the wedding.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very
Carmel.
much.
And a couple of very fine photographs of Alice in old age. Charlie and Tess were a very happily married couple. And Uncle Dermot Murray was a very handsome young man. Here's Deirdre Murray, later Hoban, in a newspaper clipping. And the four Murray girls looking rather pleased with themselves. Here was Vincent Duke with Alice. He died of mouth cancer. Another picture of Betty. At Deirdre's wedding, Larry and Ted and Sean. Larry Hoban with Ted. And here we have Deirdre along with Paula. I think she was visiting her in the States at that point. A couple more snaps of Deirdre. Always very well dressed. And very vibrant. And here's Here's Ted with Phyllis. Paula with Alice and Deirdre. Paula, who was so lovely and a model, married Winston, who was not a very good husband to her, we believe, and died very sadly quite young. Charlie and Tess. And a photograph of Dermot Murray looking very dapper at the races, probably. Ethna Murray, later Toomey. And Eve in some portraits taken by my father that I rather like. Here we have Terry and Deirdre. Carmel along with myself, looking like a little tear. Charlie and Tess along with her mother, with Carmel, I mean. Another one of Charlie and Tess. They just seem to have had a very happy marriage. I look a bit difficult there again, I'm afraid. Here we have a summer holiday with the Murphys and Finns, and Deirdre when she graduated in 76. And the last full photograph that I know of all 4 boys and 4 girls of Charlie Murray's family. Somewhat later, and not all of the family were there, but still the close ties show in all these old family photographs. Here's Harry and Mary Finn. And various meetings between the cousins over these last decades, showing the close ties that have always existed in the Murray clan.
Oh, all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot